Hi, everybody. I'm Catherine Rose, founder and CEO of ChannelWise. ChannelWise is a platform that provides vendors and channel partners access to vetted, been there, done that experts for one on one video consultations to help them go farther, faster in their business. And today we have with us a friend of mine, ChannelWise expert and founding advisory board member, Erick Simpson. He ran a successful MSP business, and he's also a channel growth expert, influencer, thought leader, speaker, and author with 4 best-selling books and 50 white papers to his credit. You're very busy, Eric. As I mentioned, he built and sold one of the first MSPs and grew and coached a channel of 30,000 IT solution providers with his MSP Mastered Business Transformation methodology. For IT vendors, he builds channel improvement programs and delivers MSP market research, strategy, consulting, content development, and partner recruitment and enablement services that overcome the challenges of building successful partner channels. So, welcome, Eric.
Thanks for having me, Catherine. It's great to see you. Long time.
Yeah, I know, always, right? And we, and we've known each other for a long time, and I knew you, more when you were working with the MSPs, and now you've been on both sides of it. So you've worked with so many MSPs, and you've heard from them about the challenges they face, not only in their business, but of working with vendors. And it sounds like you've really mastered now those skills. No pun intended to your new company, Channel Mastered. But you've really mastered the skills for vendors needing to recruit, retain, and empower their channel partners. So let's get started talking about how channel and channel programs have evolved over the years.
Oh boy, that's a big topic. I remember back when I launched my MSP practice, as you mentioned, it was one of the first MSPs in the channel that we grew and then sold a few years later. And the challenge that we had back then, Catherine, was there weren't very many. I'm going to use air quotes MSP friendly channel programs. Like if we had to invest in tools, platforms, and technology, the pricing was basically discounted by how much you bought. So, hey, buy 2,000 of these agents and you'll get the best price. So, we were faced with challenges like that, having to invest large amounts of money and then try to sell to get to a point of parity and then to make profit afterwards. And these vendors at the time really did not yet understand what the managed services model was. I mean, heck, we really didn't even understand it as we were trying to pioneer it. We didn't even call our stuff managed services. We called it flat rate IT services. That's how early on it was. So what and I'm glad that we're considered as part of that tip of the spear in helping evolve the MSP movement and the business model, having worked with so many tens of thousands of MSPs and then hundreds and hundreds of vendors over the last 10 or 15 years to get to a point where today we've seen the evolution from these basically unfriendly, non-consumption based pricing models and support programs and things like that for MSPs to now become more about growing channel revenues together. So the vendors have now figured out and have been doing it for a while. It just hasn't happened. But the evolution now is the majority of these vendors understand better what the MSP model is, what a managed service provider's day-to-day business operations are, how they make their decisions, how they price, bundle, and sell their services, and then the help that they need beyond consumption-based pricing or subscription-based pricing, which aligns with how MSPs typically sell, but also in terms of helping them with marketing and development funds, with sales training, with online portals. We're seeing more MSP academies come up and online training portals and things like that. Something that, again, kind of patting ourselves on the back, we pioneered with MSP University.
Yeah.
Kind of this online or platform where there were the largest archive of online training and downloadable forms, assets, and things for MSPs to grow their businesses. So now what we're seeing is this evolution towards kind of these the next level, which are these ecosystems now, where now it's not a single vendor kind of trying to do this in a vacuum, building their channel programs and helping their partners together, but complementary vendors banding together, and especially with distributors in the mix as well, to pool their resources together. So their marketing and sales resources, their technical resources, and coming together as kind of a tribe around MSP partners and their customers, so that we're now going to market as a much larger, more effective group. And that helps defray costs, that helps
Right.
load balance, right? The expertise necessary and the labor necessary from all the different partners within the ecosystem to
Mhm.
grow together. So that's really, really unique and interesting now.
Well, yes, I've seen the evolution myself, right? It used to be that the onus was on the partner to put together all these pieces and parts and sell a solution. And now it seems it's the onus is really on the vendors themselves to work together to say, hey, we're going to go to market as one solution. And the MSP doesn't have to sit there and think about like, oh, I need this piece and this piece because this piece says, well, I already work with these four pieces, right? So it seems like
Yeah,
that's a different, a little bit of a different solution.
and I think one of the best outcomes of that is the integrations that are occurring now between the different vendors, where, like you say, it used to be the onus of the MSP to try to figure out how to put all this stuff together and then integrate it. And these platforms were all disparate and distinct, and
Yeah.
there's different reporting. And now the we're growing up. I think the channel's growing up, and the vendors are saying, well, wait a minute, why don't we help? And this way we can hyper accelerate growth, and help our channel partners grow, and help our partner programs be more successful together, and integrate. And that's something that we definitely didn't see back when I had before I sold my MSP, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, and I mentioned it earlier, but you've worked with obviously tens of thousands of MSPs, and a lot of people know you really well for those solutions that you provided to help MSPs grow their business. But it seems like because you've had that experience, you took those learnings, and now with your new venture, you're saying, well, yes, of course I can help MSPs. I have these resources, but now I want to help the vendors and suppliers understand how to do business better, and how to grow up and work with MSPs. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yeah, I think that and I've always kind of worked with both sides of the channel for a long time, but now it's more intentional. So obviously when you grow a channel of 30,000 MSPs, that gets pretty interesting to vendors and distributors, right? So we with MSP University, over the span of 8 or 9 years, we grew this huge channel, and we were doing hundreds of workshops, and I will say thousands workshops, webinars, boot camps, speaking at all the conferences, doing these training sessions for vendors, training not only MSPs directly through MSP University, but also enabling partner channels for vendors, teaching them how to move in this direction. And of course, having these vendors sponsor these events. And our boot camps were different and unique. It was kind of a snapshot in time when, now we see it a lot
Hmm.
more. But like I say, we were kind of, pioneering a lot of these different things at the time. And we required vendors not to sell.
Right.
If they wanted to sponsor our events, they had to come in and teach and
Hmm.
train the partners. And I think that really opened up their eyes, because the partners then wanted to work with them, because they felt like, wow, you can really help me, not only in, as what I traditionally feel a vendor's role is, but you can actually help me build my business. You're willing to have these conversations with me. And so we kind of changed the conversation and kind of the way that events were run at that time. And so obviously with that perspective of understanding the challenges of the MSPs, and then understanding the challenges of these vendors, and then fast forwarding to today, where we're seeing this huge attraction for lots and lots of other vendors that may not have traditionally been interested in building an MSP channel.
Hmm.
They're now interested because, of course, the MSPs have the trust and confidence of
Right.
their clients. Right?
Right.
They're the ones that own the relationship. They have the keys to the kingdom. Now the vendors understand, well, wow, you know, we may have built reseller programs before and agent and master agent programs, but we've never seen anything like the potential for growth that we see with the MSP channel. And of course, every analyst in our industry, Catherine,
Yeah.
forecast this, dramatic, compound year over year growth for managed services and all this. So this attracting all these new vendors or
Right.
pre-revenue vendors. So we decided as a team to build an organization all completely built around MSP experts, MSP channel experts, to address the needs of these vendors, and that's channel mastered. And this is where we do channel analysis, we do surveys, we do channel program strategy design,
Yeah.
we write content, case studies, white papers, industry reports. We help these vendors understand the opportunity in the channel. We help them improve their existing channel programs. We also help them recruit partners to their channel. And we also help enable not only their channel partners, but we also work with their internal account management and sales teams to understand what makes an MSP tick, how to build that trust and confidence, and get them to agree to go to market together.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing at Channel Mastered.
Yeah, and and that leads to me to the we've talked about this obviously a lot on even on this show, but we you and I have talked about this a lot. The fact that all these new entrants into the channel, there's tons of them, right? It feels like it every day. There's new folks, and I think that the whole level setting, that must be a lot of your job, right? It's the expectation setting that it's not, it's a panacea of all the scaling dreams of everybody, of every startup. Like, I'm just going to come in and if I get 1% of the MSPs or whatever it is to sell my product, talk about, why you're seeing companies enter the channel and what they can do to set themselves up for success right out of the gate, setting those expectations.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of what we've been talking about is they see this, the promise, right? The grass is always greener over here. Wow, you guys, you haven't seen nothing yet. Come over here and look at what's happening in the MSP world. And so there's this, it's almost like this I don't want to use the word artificial, but it's kind of this excitement and buzz that gets everybody's like the next thing. It's like, how do we, look what's happening over here, and is getting all these vendors that honestly, not all of them are channel ready.
Right.
This is something that I work with, several disties that are clients of ours. Helping. They send us some vendors that are interesting, but just aren't ready for them yet. So we work with them to get them, channel ready. And the first thing that I would say is, assess the opportunity properly. Right? What we're in a couple of engagements right now where we're having to kind of almost, it's more of a product review scenario where we say, well, wait a minute, you know, there's an opportunity here, but let's do a kind of a product assessment first and make sure that what you're ready to deliver it fits within that MSP friendly category where MSPs are like, oh wow, you've got a partner program, you've got training check, you've got a good onboarding process check, you've got sales enablement check, you've got MDF check, you're going to assign somebody to me, and here are my requirements that I'm willing to invest so that we go to market together. And so there are some very specific requirements that a vendor has to meet in order to just get a seat at the table
Right.
with these MSPs to get their attention,
Right.
right? So the first thing that I would suggest with a new vendor that's looking to get in is to understand what those prerequisites are and to really see if you're ready for it and align that, and then understand that it isn't a light switch that goes on, right? It's progress over perfection. So
Yeah.
we work with a lot of mutual vendor clients, Catherine, that want to just go gangbusters, and we want to grow 1,000 MSPs this year. And when you hear things like that, it gives you pause, right? Because there has to be a strategy behind that, and there has to be some sort of proof that we can achieve that over time. And if this is kind of the coming out party, we've got to, like you said, kind of readjust these expectations. And the ideal approach there would be coming into the market right away is let's not go gangbusters. Let's get, 10, 20, 30 MSPs,
The right
and
ones.
let's build that program, get the right partners
Mhm.
first, leverage them to help us build kind of a partner advisory board as well, because obviously they're the ones that are on the ground in the firefight every day. They're, these most trusted and loyal MSPs that you're going to give extra attention to and extra value for them helping you as you build that program along the way, and then assess and analyze. And then we have to understand from a channel program perspective what the forecasted cost of partner acquisition is going
Mm,
to be, because
mhm.
we've got a budget for all this stuff,
Yeah,
right? So this will help
exactly.
us figure that out. What's the cost of partner acquisition? How long before we break even from bringing that partner on? And then over the next 12, 24, 36 months, what's the expected revenue that that partner can generate? And then with some of those basic numbers, and these are questions I ask vendors that sometimes they don't know this stuff. And so we have to say, okay, we got to figure that stuff out
Yeah.
first, because we're not interested in cashing your checks. We're interested in helping you move the needle.
Right,
Because
right.
if we help you move the needle, then we're going to keep helping you move the needle. We know how that works, right?
Absolutely. And like you said, I mean, some vendors would be like, "What do you mean it's going to take 18 to 24 months?" And you're like, that's really that those setting of those expectations. And you mentioned we obviously have a lot of mutual clients, but you were one of the first to sign up as a founding advisory board member of ChannelWise. Thank you for that. But I really just would love for you to tell us a little bit about why you decided that you wanted to come on board with us, and where you see us providing services that can align with what you're doing and the vendors out there to support their journeys.
Well, Catherine, it was your vision that got me. You hit me with the vision, and you said, "Look, there are all these industry experts out there, and there are all these folks that need help. We can do that, and we can bring that expertise in a way that's cost effective, that gives them what they need when they need it, right?" And that's been, if you've been following my career, that's kind of who I am, right? I want to help. I want to, help, raise the tide so that all ships kind of rise. And it's a great opportunity for me as well to meet all of these other industry experts and luminaries that, I may have heard of, right? But, have never engaged with. So not only, am I, just thrilled to, be part of your vision, but I'm also going to be reaching out for the help that I need. And that's one thing that I've learned early on. You never stop learning, and raise your hand because you don't know everything, and don't bang your head against the wall when you're trying to solve a difficult problem, right? It's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over. You've made it so easy for folks to get the help that they need when they need it in a very easy and simple way. Um, you know that it's like I said, it just boils down to that vision you shared with me, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Well, thank you. And I mean, I love being part of the channel. The ecosystem, if we want to use that word. I know it's sort of overused in our industry now, but is that the willingness to help, and everyone just they believe so much in the promise and the future of all these people we've been working with for so many years, right? That we want to see everyone succeed. But thank you for that. And and you talked a lot about the newer vendors entering the channel, but I speak to a lot of legacy vendors because, of course, I've been around for a while, and a lot of their VARs are still not moved right into this MSP model. So, what do you say to the vendors out there who have their channel programs already set up? Maybe they have hundreds of thousands of partners, even right. So, what
Mhm,
are the
mhm.
common challenges you see? Getting either moving folks into that MSP model, or having the vendors kind of change their mindset of getting and how to get their partners to sell more, maybe retaining the right partners, those kinds of things.
Yeah, it's it's a broad topic, and the the best success that we've had working with vendors that have kind of a legacy program have been to to introduce kind of a pilot program methodology, right? Where I think, vendors, and hey, we're all human beings, right? We're all proud of our accomplishments, and we spent years building something. The last thing we need is, Eric to come knock on the door and go, "Oh, that's all wrong. You guys have all, that doesn't help anyone, right?" So we understand, right? Been around as long as we have, you and I, Catherine. We kind of can identify real quickly where some opportunities for improvement may lie. The wrong approach is to come in and just poo poo on someone's
Yeah.
program, right?
Yeah.
That's not helpful. So what we like to do is we like to come in and say, hey, let's build a little bit of a pilot, right? We'll run it alongside what you're doing, and we're not disrupting anything that you're doing, but let's evaluate and measure. And it's basically us starting a little bit of a brand new channel, if you will. Let's find 10, 20, 30 partners, and sometimes we can pull from their existing partners, right? So
Hmm.
let's look at your personas, let's look at, who your ideal partners are, and let us, build a special program and then show you how we would manage that, right? And we'll ask them for, a resource or two. We don't want to tax them because obviously everybody's busy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And at Channel Mastered, we have fractional CXOs as well. So we have the bench to come in and pilot this for partners, or for vendors that may be resource constrained as well. But the way to get them to evaluate something new and different is to make it easy for them to say yes, not to tax too much of their existing resources, and to run it for them in tandem within their existing program. So we'll borrow some of the best stuff out of their program. We'll inject some things that we want to bring in,
Mm.
that is really those 11 herbs and spices that we bring to the table. And then we run it for, 6 months. And then we say, okay, here's what we were able to do. And this then allows us to say, okay, that worked. Let's expand it. And then that's how we kind of, grow it over time. But it is difficult for some of these larger vendors with these long established programs to sit down and have that conversation with. And sometimes we are able to do that and have that conversation. And even when it's so successful, it's still
Yeah.
challenging. Right? It's an ongoing conversation to get them to want to expand, expand,
Yeah.
expand. And you've got to win the trust and confidence of, the colleagues on the other side of the table. Again,
Right.
it's all about, letting them know that, hey, it's okay. You just didn't know about these herbs and spices. That's what we're going to bring. So how can we then expand that over time? And it's a process, right?
Right, right, definitely. Sometimes it's turning a battleship, a little bit with those programs. So, well, we're coming to the end of our time today. So, Eric, I want to give you an opportunity, give folks the top three things that you want them to think about when they're entering. We'll start with entering the channel.
Entering the channel. Okay, top three things. So, thing number one, understand who you are and what your value proposition is, right? That's the most important thing, because in today's channel, there are so many categories, right? There are so many categories and there's so much competition. What makes you unique in the sea of competition?
Mhm.
So understand what that unique differentiator is. And I would argue, if you can create your own category, then try to do that, right? It may be a little bit of a marketing spin here and there, but at the end of the day, you don't want to be categorized subconsciously by a partner that you want to recruit with everyone else, right? So understand who you are, understand what your unique value proposition is, distinguish and differentiate yourself. Understand that the MSP channel is different than any other channel that you've probably ever seen. I'm a recovering MSP, so I get to say things and share with you all. But we're fickle. MSPs are fickle. We have a short attention span, right? We're busy. We're spinning a lot of plates on sticks. Have your value proposition solid. You've got to build three value propositions to get the attention of an MSP in order to be successful with them. The first value proposition is the value proposition for their end customers.
Mhm.
what is it that you do that's uniquely different that's going to influence an MSP to have a conversation about your product, service, or solution to their end customers?
Got it.
That's one. Second value proposition is what's in it for them. That value proposition to the MSP. Okay, you've checked my customers. I got that. Now, what about me and my staff?
Mhm.
So, your program has to bring that additional assistance to help the MSP be better than just signing up for another vendor product or solution.
Mhm.
How are you going to help them and their staff become more efficient, go faster, integrate better? It doesn't hurt to have MDF and discount levels and things like that. Have a solid program. And then the third thing is you've got to be out there and be visible, right? I know it's costly to go out and do live events, but if your competition is going to be out there and you're building a channel program, you can't do it remotely. You got to include online and remote marketing and digital marketing along with live events. So identify probably the top 4 events that you need to be seen at and make sure you've got the budget to not only support the event, but the follow on after the event.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Eric, for your time and energy on our behalf at ChannelWise, and also all the years you've put into really helping the channel and channel partners thrive. So, and folks out there, if you want deeper advice on this topic, go ahead over to Eric's profile on ChannelWise, and we'll go ahead and put that into the comments on the post. And if you have any other questions, we have lots of experts at ChannelWise all ready to help you or your partners go farther, faster in their business. Thanks again, Eric, and until next time, everyone.